Have you ever heard someone say, treat others like you want to be treated? What were they talking about? Let me tell you in one word. Respect. That's right, respect. Let's explore that on this episode of Rocket Kids. I'm Morgan, and let's get this started.
Woohoo! Good morning, Morgan County. It's time for our Positive Podcast from the Morgan County Partnership. I'm your host, Mrs. Hott, the Positive Actions and Digital Media Facilitator. Today's Positive Podcast is called Positive Actions for Emotional Wellness. Respect rocks.
Hi! Hola community, es hora de acción positiva. I am Mrs. Sheima, Morgan County Partnership Positive Actions and Digital Media Facilitator. Today's Positive Podcast is called Acciones Positivas para Bienestar Emocional. Respetar mola.
Awesome! The Morgan County Partnership joins you weekly for an exciting look at positive programs, news, and features that help build empathy, that foster core values, health, and family wellness in our homes, our community, and around the world.
Whether you are 2 or 92, each new Partnership Positive podcast will feature fun and exciting information to help you manage and balance life here in Morgan County to West Virginia and beyond.
We are ready, right, Sheima? Yeah. We are ready with a new friend with us today. We're going to meet here in just a second. She's so adorable. I can't wait for the neighbors to meet her. And today, guys, we have a new core value to talk about, as in each week, that help build a network of neighbors all working together in our community, helping each other get through another day. We have resources to connect and to meet our basic needs. Let's get started. All right, today's podcast, neighbors, it's called Positive Actions for Emotional Wellness. Respect rocks. Thanks for listening, everyone. And also remember this, you can watch our podcast on the Positive Actions YouTube channel too, or you can listen to us on SoundCloud and on our Morgan County Partnership app. You can listen on your phone too. Today, Sheima and I will be chatting about emotional wellness as we continue our next chapter about that good old golden rule. This unit features core value words for our last unit of the school year. This week, our positive action value word is respect. Miss Sheima, can you tell us about what respect means and how to say it in Spanish? Can you share?
Sure. Respect in Spanish is respeto and means to consider the feelings, wishes, right, and tradition of others. And in Spanish is considerar los sentimientos, deseos, derechos y tradiciones de los demás.
You say that so fast. I know, right? But I understood what you said, right? It's a beautiful value word. I really, really like talking about this. And in 7 or 8 years doing positive actions, the teachers will often say, hey, can you guys talk about respect? I mean, sometimes it's something that's really lacking in their classrooms, which are just a little like microcosm of the world outside, respect. And sometimes we do need to take a minute and say, what is respect, right? It's when we consider we are thoughtful about the feelings of others, the wishes of others, the rights of others, and their traditions. I think those are all very important, and that we respect each other equally on all of those areas. Now, all ages, we chat about positive actions through the school year and core values with the community. And this is an effort to build a better tomorrow by developing these values today, right, guys? And today we have a really special treat. Are you ready, neighbors? Joining us, we have a graduate from Berkeley Springs High School who is now about to graduate from Alderson Broaddus, and I might add a year early, which is crazy. I don't know how you did that, Caroline. So all the way, our Morgan County, she was a former Positive partner. She was one of the original crew that would come and have lunch on Thursdays at Widmeyer Elementary before Principal Cable retired. and he had the lunch buddy program. Remember that, Caroline?
Mhm.
Right, coming down with lunch. Caroline also is one of the probably dinosaurs in our teen court program, right? In teen court.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, neighbors, Morgan County, from here and beyond, without further ado, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Caroline Ciardiello. Oh, look at you smile. I want to give you a big virtual hug, girl. Oh, Caroline Ciardiello. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I've lost my place already. Now, Caroline, we're gonna talk about positive actions for wellness. Okay, respect and beyond.
Mhm.
You're our role model, and we like to share role models in the community who can come back and talk to our students and also our families, because you've been out of Morgan County for a while, and we're kind of curious. You know, what's it like past the bubble of Morgan County? Do you see values? Do you see positive actions? So today we're going to chat a little bit, and we're going to see what you think about the value word respect. Are you ready? So let's say hi, Caroline. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, where you've been, and where you're going?
Well, like Miss Angie said, my name is Caroline Ciardiello. I am a senior at Alderson Broaddus University with a major in legal studies and minors in psychology and criminal justice. I graduated from high school at Berkeley Springs High School in 2018. I did a lot of clubs and hung out with my friends all the time and had a really fun time at Berkeley Springs High School. And I'm hoping to go to law school in the coming years and become a lawyer someday.
Wow, become a lawyer someday. Now, let me ask you this. If anybody is curious about being a lawyer, and I have a friend when I was in high school back in the early 80s, okay? And we were in the band together, and she went to NYU, and then she did a path. After that, she worked in lighting design and toured with bands like across the country and around the world. And then she said, I'm going to be a lawyer. And then she went to law school. And now she's back. I have a cousin too who she wanted to be a lawyer. And when what do you call that? You have to pass a big test, right?
The bar.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I could do it. What do you think, Sheima? A big test like that? Yeah, well, she did that, and she was a lawyer for a while, and then she clerked for a judge, and then she said, that's it. She got a camper, and she drove across the country for a very long time, just her and her dog, and now she lives in Oregon, and she's starting her own law practice.
That's
amazing.
So awesome.
I know, isn't that cool? And I just think,
cool.
You know, like when you gotta be brave, right? But when you've got to have like respect for values to say, all right, I'm going to dedicate my life to something that trying to get everybody to go by the law, you know, that's what makes things organized and work. Let me see here. Okay, a question. Okay. To be a lawyer, okay, I'm hearing that's what your goal is. What training do you need? And you said you're getting ready to educate to graduate. So what do you do?
Yes.
I don't know. I know there's a big test. Big tests scare me, but
the routine process is you have to get a 4-year or a bachelor's degree from any college institution. It doesn't really matter what you get the degree in, but you have to take this test called the LSAT, which kind of determines how well you can logically reason your way through problems. So the degree that you choose to get doesn't really matter if you get a very good score on the LSAT. So even though I decided to go with legal studies, which is kind of like pre-law, engineering students usually do quite well on the LSAT because it's a lot of problem solving and it's a lot of thinking. And, political science, math majors usually do quite well with it because it is a lot of problem solving. So once you take the LSAT and you get those scores, depending on how well you do, you kind of have a range of options in school. but the LSAT score is not absolute. You can get a low LSAT score but have a high GPA and get into a certain school, or a low GPA and a high LSAT score. So it's not always the same. It's a case-by-case basis for students.
I'm curious, did things change for, like, in order to graduate with the pandemic? Did you have to change? I mean, you're still doing it early. Are you still able to follow the same path in classes? How did that change your plans, or did it? Maybe it didn't affect you at all. I don't know.
So luckily my school was able to easily adjust to an online, format. So all of the classes I was already in, I got to continue to take online through like our school website. So I was still able to get the credits from those classes, and I made what they call a 3-year plan, which allows me to chart where all of my classes will be in terms of semester timing. So I was able to stick to that strict schedule to allow myself to stay on the same path.
Well, tell us a little more about your school, because I remember being at AB for like a regional band thing when I was like 16 years old. Tell us about AB, and like anybody here in Morgan County, like who might want to go there. Give us your elevator pitch on sending some kids to school where you're going to graduate. Oh, I think I saw somebody's going to run there in the fall. Did you see that? Oh, maybe you did, Sheima. Pedro might know her. She's in the high school now, and I think she's really fast. Belle Harvey, I think she's going to be a runner at AB. I don't know.
Really?
Do you know her? Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
That's kind of neat. Or you know what? That might be Davis and Elkins. Well, never mind. I think you had the wrong school. Tell us about your school.
Okay.
Encourage us.
So Alderson Broaddus University is a small private institution in Philippi, West Virginia. It takes about 3 hours to get here from Berkeley Springs. And both my dad and my stepmom went here for PA school. And so they were both very familiar with it when I got to come and tour, and when I was kind of in the process of choosing. I wanted a school that was small and one that I could easily adjust to. And, I got that here. It's a little under 1,000 students. So it allowed me to have a very close relationship with all of my professors, to the point where they all knew my name and they knew what I could do. And if I ever had a question, I never hesitate, because I know them personally, as my professor, of course. And there are a lot of sports here. A lot of the kids here are athletes, so it's definitely a great school to be a student athlete at, because there are so many. I believe it's like 95% of the student. I believe it's around there in the 90% range for student athletes at AB, football, soccer, volleyball, basketball, etc. But AB caught my eye because it was small and it's pretty, and it was something that felt familiar because it reminded me of Berkeley Springs. It wasn't a huge step up, and it allowed me to adjust to college easier because I didn't have to do a lot of adjusting to the environment around me. I just had to adjust from going to high school classes to taking college courses and making new friends and things like that.
That has a lot of value to it. That's a great message if you're a senior or junior now and you're thinking about that next step. And you said it wasn't, how'd you put it? Like, I heard you say, I didn't want that big step, but you got the right unique step that was right for you, and there are places for everybody that's the right step for them. And I think it's kind of neat. You said your dad went there, and he's what's a PA again?
PA is a physician's assistant. AB has the second ever created PA program in the country, I believe. And so I came here for a very different education path.
Well, I want to add this, Caroline. You said 95%. Now, what I remember from Caroline, I used to pick you up off the bus, and when you were in high school with Violet, I don't remember you playing sports or softball or anything like this. And then you said AB's 95% athletes. Now, that didn't deter you, right? So,
No.
don't think, if you're listening, don't think, oh, I have to be an athlete to go to AB.
Mm-mm.
Be unique, be you, be yourself, and AB is a good fit for whatever you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, neighbors. I'll share this story. Caroline's dad, she said, is a PA, and they used to live up the road from us, just a couple miles on a farm, and now they've moved across the Potomac into Washington County. But when they were up here, I don't know if I can talk about this. I'm starting to feel funny. But when it was in 2008, I think, when he was one of the first person I called when Dan was diagnosed. And and neighbors, in case you don't know, Dan, my husband Dan, Danny Pooh, we call him in the classroom, has Parkinson's disease, and he was diagnosed. Chris used to call it talk for an hour, and he would say, he'd say, all right, I don't know what you're doing in these hills, and I mean, this conversation comes up over the last 12 years. Caroline, your dad, that house is not conducive for someone with Parkinson's disease. So what'd we do? We renovate it, because not long after that, Dan was going up the steps and fell up the steps. And you want to know who I called?
My dad.
Yeah. Chris. And so yeah, I kind of miss him being up the road,
He's very happy being in Hagerstown now.
Yeah.
But it definitely was a big change for him. To go from little Berkeley Springs to a little bit bigger Hagerstown. It was definitely, it had its conveniences, but he spent some time living in a housing development and realized that he didn't like not living on a farm. So he decided that he wanted that again. So they just recently moved into our new house, which allows him to have a farm again. So he's very excited about that.
Yeah, he does like his animals, right?
Well,
yes, he was awesome. And as a matter of fact, I think he also took a splinter out of someone's foot for me too once. Can't remember who that was.
I'm sure he did.
But that's pretty neat, and we're talking about the word respect, and as a parent, a child to parent, you look up for what someone in your family has done, and their path and their history has guided and directed you and your choices, and also to be fearless. Look at you go to a school full of athletes. Carolyn's not afraid of anything. I want to ask you this, okay, because I want to talk about teen court and our good friend Charlie. We love Charlie, don't we? Sheima?
We do.
Yeah, we love Charlie. Charlie Willard, he's one of our co-workers here at the Morgan County Partnership, and there's this thing called teen court. And I want to know this: did being in teen court guide you or give you any why you're doing this legal thing and pre-law? Is that experience helpful?
Partly, yes. It definitely played a role, because I found myself I liked to be in the courtroom. I thought it was fun. I liked standing in front of a judge and talking to him. Of course, I joined a lot later than Violet did, so I didn't have as much time in teen court as I probably would have liked to, but I also didn't really know what I wanted to do, so it was definitely one of the things that led me to where I am.
Wow. Got a taste of it, huh? That's pretty neat. You got a taste of it. Now, you were around and knowing Violet when the partnership, I didn't have you for Positive Actions class, but you as a role model in our community became involved and helped me in many ways with our program. And I want to ask you this. You know a little bit about Positive Actions and how we talk about core values. Can you tell us, now that you're away from Berkeley Springs and you're living, your dad and all are in Hagerstown, how have Positive Actions helped you any? What do you see? What's missing? What's beautiful? What's not?
Well, I've learned a lot about myself by coming to college and doing it kind of on my own, and I've learned that if you're nice to everybody, it kind of makes life a little bit easier, because you never have to say, oh, well, they don't like me because I was rude to them, kind of thing. If you respect the people around you, will respect you back, whether or not they agree with what you're saying. They will look at you as being more mature and things like that. And, you know, in our world, kindness is not something that a lot of people receive daily. And if you can be that one person that makes someone smile once a day, you would be surprised by how many people start to warm up to you just because you decided to do one nice thing for them.
Yeah. You know, Carolyn, we're continuing a kindness collection on Tuesdays, books about kindness. And Violet's reading some for us, and Sheima and I are reading them. And I just recorded one, and I didn't know this, but one person, she gives a blueberry to her neighbor, and that neighbor makes blueberry muffins and gives them away. And it eventually goes, 5 different people are affected by the kindness who affect 5 other different people, and how it carries on. And you do the math, which I can't do the math. Maybe you can, because you're going to college.
I probably
It said
can't.
in 16 days, if everyone was kind 5 times a day, in 16 days, everyone in the world would experience kindness. And some of those, I mean, in the story, it transformed their lives. And that's, you know, I mean, the sort of respect, it's all about being kind, right? And that valuable, being nice. Let's see. Do you see, let me ask you another question here. Caroline, you're about to graduate from college, get a job as a law clerk and all that. I had an idea, Sheima, you're going to smile. Okay, Caroline, if you could give advice to your little girl, Caroline, what would you say to her?
I would probably advise 8-year-old me to ask, more questions about the world around me.
Really?
When I was younger, I was just kind of complacent. I took things at face value instead of questioning why things why they were the way that they were. And it took a lot of learning once I got older to understand some of the things I didn't understand before. And I have a feeling that if I had started asking questions a little earlier on, I probably would have, had a bit of an easier time. But it definitely helped me a lot by asking more questions.
So you would have asked more questions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Sheima? Do you think asking questions? I encourage that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Asking questions. Definitely. If you could ask Charlie a question, what would you ask him?
I would ask him if he remembered me personally.
I think Charlie remembers everyone. I think he does.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. So respect. I want to look at this again. To consider the feelings, wishes, rights, and traditions of others. Now, I want to ask you something, because it's been a rough year. Let me move this thing out of my way. Because of the pandemic and with racial tensions and civil rights and all that kind of stuff. Do you experience outside of Morgan County, like people like only being respectful to certain people? Because it's my definition says of others, and to me that means everybody.
Right.
And sometimes we see and we read about it, and there was an awful rally in the park for Black Lives Matter that got terribly, terribly violent. Nobody got hurt, but it got ugly in the terms of verbal things. And we have to respect everyone. And in your experience, what did you see here and in college? Are people more respectful as they get older, or because others means everyone, right?
Yeah. In my experience, of course, I believe that the older you are, the more you learn to be accepting. Of course, accepting doesn't always mean being respectful. I think it's all about the things that you learned when you were younger that make for a respectful person. Because if you only grow up listening to one side of a story, that's the only side of the story you're going to hear. So in all reality, everyone needs to know everyone's story in order to fully understand. And it's important to always listen to everyone's side of the story. And just by listening, you can gain a lot of respect for other people just by knowing what they've gone through, because you never know what someone's going through until you talk to them about it. So that's what I've learned personally from, you know, kind of watching it from the outside in, because none of that stuff really happened around here. But watching from the outside in, listening to other people's viewpoints and being understanding of where they come from, but also having the lessons to teach them why what they are saying might be disrespectful to someone is really the most important thing for that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Absolutely. I'm so proud of you. I mean, that was so wise. I mean, it's like, yeah, because listening and as a matter of fact, we, our program, we're trying to offer the experience of others by having, like the race and diversity books from PBS, and we had Little Leaders and Bold Women in Black History, the Kindness Collection that explores its 30 books with people from all places and religions, and if we share different stories, you said it right, Sheima, if we listen to other people's stories, then we're gonna respect, and that starts when you're 8 years old, back to Caroline at 8, right? And so then if we only hear one story until we're 25 and on our own, then it does narrow our viewpoint. But if we're willing to listen, and I really feel like as a mom, you know, I want to know more. I'm curious by, you know, my whole DNA is curious. So let's be open to others and let's listen. And it really, my mind goes when I've even seen comments like, how comes they sell this at Walmart? Oh, and I'm like, really? Really? I mean, do you really know? But you know, that's might be what you said. They've only heard one side of a story for years. But you know what? Rocket Kids, the little girl says, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means we should listen twice. Is that how she said it, Sheima?
Yeah, something like that.
Twice as much.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see here, Caroline. I want to ask you this. Traditions. How do we respect the traditions of others? Now, Sheima and I, we both work with Positive Actions, but we have different traditions. She has a toddler. My kids are teens. Sheima comes from Spain, and I was born in Berkeley Springs. So we have different traditions. And and I want to kind of be specific, and I'm going to pick your brain, okay? What positive actions would you do to respect our traditions? And by that, like, if you're listening, might help. Oh, I can do this and be, you know, what? Put you on the spot.
I definitely think that listening is very important. Asking questions so you better understand is very important.
Okay.
And allowing for someone to show you what their traditions are is also very important. Instead of just kind of assuming, you have to allow them to show you what their traditions are before you can really determine if you understand it or not.
Awesome. So I heard 3 positive actions: listening, and we tell that in the classroom. It's a positive action to listen to someone else. And you got to do this, right? Allowing someone else, that means you actually have to stop and respect that other person's turn. And asking questions, what you said you would do, ask questions. Those are great positive actions, neighbors. Remember that, the wise words of Caroline Ciardiello, okay? I love this. Caroline, you're going to become a positive action facilitator, right, Sheima? Yes, right. That's really beautiful. And if we could do that, we would be building respect for each other. Now, what about the traditions of each other? How about the rights of each other? How do we respect each other's rights? And I have a point I want to talk about with this. It feels legal to me, right? So.
Oh, I'm sure I could tell you all about it. I have a class that I'm in right now called Civil Rights and Liberties. I had it this morning, actually.
Oh.
So, you know, in the United States, the Constitution allows you to have certain rights that can't be taken away, which is you have the freedom to talk, the freedom to express yourself, to practice the religion that you want to practice. You have all of these freedoms, and don't ever put yourself on a higher, pedestal than others, because those people have the same rights that you do. And so, saying that someone shouldn't be talking about something, you're willfully taking away one of their rights that are what they call inalienable, which means you can't take it away. And they, all of those are so often discussed, but very seldomly followed. We tell each other to stop talking about something we don't agree with. And, that's not at all respectful. You should listen to what people have to say. But don't ever think that just because someone is talking that you have to listen if they are being disrespectful towards you. Because if they choose to not be respectful towards you, then listening might not be what you need right then. Maybe walking away and cooling off is what you need to do. So the rights that we have as people, following them and allowing other people to practice theirs is respectful, and you listen to what they have to say, and you allow them to express themselves however they need to. So to be understanding of one another. And that makes sense.
It does. It keeps you legally, like you said, it's based on the Constitution. And I remember talking to Judge McLaughlin. We respect the Constitution, and that's what her job is as a judge, to follow that and to protect everyone's rights. And everybody has a right to be respected, no matter their. Oh, my heart. Very good. Well, Caroline, I know we're going to time out here soon, so we're going to head on to our closing, okay? Thanks for stopping to join us.
Thank you for having me.
And I can't wait. Anytime you're back here in West Virginia, you just come on up Hott Mountain and say hello, okay?
You got it.
There's always a place for Caroline. We'll do some dancing in the living room, right? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You ready, Sheima?
Wow, that was awesome, neighbors. Thank you all for joining us. From 2 to 92, young and old, it's been fun podcasting with you today. We hope you find some positive actions out in the world this week. Bye.
Thank you. And neighbors, remember this: teachers, students, families, you are unique. You are important. And every one of you, you're each wonderfully made. Don't forget it. We're going to close with Rocket Kids, all about the word respect, okay? And then come back next week. We're going to talk about a really good one. We're going to talk about humility, okay? All right, neighbors, we'll see you next time. Okay, we got it all.
People show respect in many different ways. They speak and act kindly. They listen to others. They accept others for who they are. The list goes on, but it comes down to this: they're just nice. And nice is so much better than mean. Maybe you're at school and a friend likes something different than you, or the new kid looks different than you. Not everyone is the same. We all like, believe, look, and sound differently, so it doesn't give us the right to pick on others or make fun of them. Would you want someone to treat you like that? I didn't think so. Here comes Tommy in his new shirt, and it may not be your taste. Don't be all, look at Tommy's shirt! Maybe Tommy likes his shirt. Sure, it's not what you would wear. It's got a fluffy collar and no sleeves. It's different, like really different. But this is not about you. So simmer down and let Tommy be Tommy, because you want to be you, and that's cool. Accept people for who they are and show them some respect. Treat others as you want to be treated. See how we came back to that? Do you know people that just keep talking, and we want to be like, why don't you just stop talking and start listening? Just listen with these two things. We have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Does that mean we should listen twice as much as we talk? Yes. Yes, it does. Maybe someone else has an opinion about something we never even thought of. You ever heard the phrase, listen and learn? Well, that's what they're talking about, people. Maybe we can learn something we never knew. It's amazing what we can learn by listening. I'm talking about really listening. We're speaking to a friend and they're off looking over here, or they have their face buried in their phone. Put down the phone, people. Before you're even done talking, they're like blah, 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 blah. They didn't even hear what you had to say. I want people to hear what I have to say, but we have to listen to them too. They have a voice, so show them some respect and listen to what they have to say. Maybe it's the most awesome thing you've ever heard, but you wouldn't know because you're like blah, 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 blah. Respect is also about showing gratitude, giving encouragement, and just saying thank you. You ever had a bad day? Everything was going wrong. And then a friend came up and said, hey, everything's gonna be all right. I'm here for you if you need anything. That makes us feel pretty good, right? We know that someone is there for us. They understand what we're going through. When this happens, we're all like, yes, this is going to be all right. This is respecting others' feelings and being compassionate about what they're going through. We all need someone to pick us up sometimes. I don't mean like literally lift us up in the air or pick us up off the ground. Although, if I am laying on the ground and I'm like, hey, can someone pick me up off the ground? I hope someone does. And if they do, I can say thank you. Because thank you is a great way to tell someone you appreciate what they did. And that's showing them some respect. It all comes down to this. Make people feel good. Make them smile. Make them remember you for all the right reasons. Think about that. What are some things you've done to show respect to others? Let us know by commenting on this video. We would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you great videos. That's the show, and thanks for watching. I'm Morgan, this is Rocket Kids, and remember to always be your best self.